Hello everyone, my name is Matthew David. Ignore my YouTube channel name. I accidentally screwed it up, and unfortunately YouTube does not let you change your name for 2 weeks. I'm filming a video, first video. Yeah, so I am making this channel in order to document my journey in Mexico, and as a gringo, that should be quite interesting. Mi español is not great, but I'm practicing and I'm getting better. In my first video, I want to talk about a story of mine and how I got here. Earlier this year, I was in college for studying business at the university, Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And I left, I dropped out. I got a job in Alaska to be a zipline guide in Talkeetna. And for 4 months, I was there over the summer. I worked, I made money, I made friends, and most importantly, there was a lot of peace and quiet, a lot of time for me to think. Fast forward, I decided I wanted to travel to Mexico because some of the friends I met up there live down here. I've been to Mexico a few times, but I've never really lived there. I've been to the tourist locations like Cabo, Cancun, things like that. So this is interesting for me. I do also want to describe the journey it took to get here, which is, I'm beating around the bush. So let's get into that. First thing that happened, I decided to drive from Alaska to Mexico, and here's how I did it at 21 years old. I bought a truck, and if I can figure out a way to put a picture of the truck in the video, I will. It has a small camper on the back. It is an old camper, a 1980, I think, Bethany picker-upper. I bought the truck and the camper from another YouTuber for $3,500. All in, that didn't cost me much, but there was some interesting things about this truck. First of all, it's from New Jersey and Minnesota. It has a lot of rust. The next thing is the suspension. Suspension is shot. The frame was cracked, and it was going to be a long shot to get it all the way down to Mexico. It's a 1993 Ford F-150. Before I left, I took it to a mechanic. I said, listen, I'm about to need to use this truck, and I need you to tell me if there's anything that's super serious that I need to know about. And he told me, he said, it is a miracle that truck made it up to Alaska. The previous owner drove it up to Alaska before I bought it. He said, it's a miracle. I said, okay, and? He said, you've got a cracked frame. You've got $6,000 to $8,000 in repairs here. A lot of rust. He said, I would not put any weight on this thing. Definitely don't drive it anywhere. So, likewise, I said, okay, whatever. I told him, I said, here, give me the inspection, everything you found out about the truck, all the stuff, all the problems, things that need to be replaced. He gave me the list. I said, no, I don't want you to do the repairs. I drove 30 seconds down the street to an O'Reilly Parts. I told the O'Reilly Parts guy, I said, I need this, I need this, I need this. They just happened to have everything I needed, bought all the parts, drove it back up to Talkeetna. It was about an hour drive from the shop. And the very next morning, I worked on the truck with a mechanic that I met up there. We spent all day repairing the truck, got it up and running. Suspension was still an issue. The ball joints hadn't been replaced, but we figured they can make it. The tie rod was blown out, alignment. Anyways, all these problems, we got them worked out to the point where I could drive it. Next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, I'm driving it down to Colorado, where I have some family. It took me about 10 days to get down there. And when I tell you it was a miracle, it made it. It really was. Only God's doing. I went through off-roading, everything, because the roads on the Alcan, they're not nice. Dirt, gravel, all that stuff. But it made it. It made it fine. I had no issues. Then I took a detour down to Mexico. That is when it all went to hell in a handbasket. As soon as I crossed the border in Nogales, Mexico, my truck breaks down right before I enter the highway. I do not speak Spanish. I do not know anyone in Nogales. I was praying that my truck would make it all the way to Guadalajara, which is where I am now. It did not. My truck broke down. I told the guy, or no, that's later in the story. I call my friends as soon as it breaks down. There's cars going by, honking at me. And let me tell you, driving in Mexico is not the same as driving in the US. You have to get used to it. The roads are thinner. There's a lot more people close to each other. The cars are inches apart. And me and this big truck and camper are trying to find my way through the city. Easier said than done. But luckily, I have very good friends, and I want to thank them very much. They're in Guadalajara. I call them. I say, hey, worst possible thing happened. My truck broke down. They say, okay, we can call someone. So they did. They called people, mechanics around the area in Nogales, and they found one. They found a mechanic, Hernandez, and they said, yes, we can help him, but he's got to find a way to get the truck to the mechanic shop. The shop is in town, up a couple of roads, really, really insane roads for this truck and camper, and obviously a lot of vehicles. Just before it's about to get dark, for whatever reason, the truck decides to start. So I start the truck, and as I'm going to this mechanic shop, the truck is running on fumes. It's going, and it's like dying as it's going. Some of you, whoever's listening, this might understand that. Anyways, I'm driving through town, tons of traffic, going off road up to this shop in the middle of the town. Somehow it makes it there. The mechanic guy says you can sleep in the shop in your camper overnight because it's not safe to be out at night, especially being gringo like myself. Gringo. Anyway, so we get in the shop and the guy's like, hey, you can stay the night. So I stay the night. But before I stay the night, I'm invited to this person I met. His name is Daniel. He invites me to his house. I'm trying to make friends because I think if you're friendly, people are more likely to do stuff for you. They're more likely to help you. And it has to be genuine. So I made a friend, Daniel. Next thing I know, he's telling me about he spent 17 years in prison for all sorts of stuff. Kidnapping, armed robbery, armed assault. Not stuff you really want to hear if you're a gringo in a foreign country and don't speak the language. But I decided to give him a chance. He said, do you need anything? I said, yes. I said, I need pesos. I had not done planning very well, and so I did not have any pesos. I had no money. Nothing to be able to pay in Mexico. Yes, some places will take dollars, especially at the border, but I needed pesos for my journey ahead. So the guy drives me into town. He's driving like a madman. This is nighttime now. So I'm in the truck with him, right? It's his truck. And right before we get there, he pulls out of the cigarette lighter a knife. He looks at me dead in the eye and he says, I'm crazy. Nobody messes with me. I'm like, okay, that's definitely what I want to hear. And then he proceeds to say, give me all your money. I'm like, what? Give me all your money? Oh, okay. Then he says, no, for the currency exchange. I'm like, oh, okay. So I give him the money. I say, I'm trusting you, man. He says, no, nobody's going to mess with me. Nobody's going to mess with me. Not even sure what he was saying, really. And he did. He exchanged my money, got pesos, and I gave him 1,000 pesos just to say thank you. At no point in the entire process did he ever ask for money or anything like that. This was a guy that was trying to turn his life around. He had been running a business there, and he was showing me stuff about that. So I was happy to give him a chance. Regardless of what would have happened to me, it all worked out in the end. Next thing I know, I'm back at the shop. The people are looking at my truck. They're saying, well, everything seems to be in order. And so they say, we'll take a look at it in the morning. So I stay the night in the camper, wake up the next morning, and I say, everything's working. Truck started right up in the morning, no problems. But they looked at my suspension. They said there were some things that off, and there were a couple other things, but I figured I could get the way through all the way to Guadalajara, which is about 1,000 miles away. Yeah, I'm intelligent, I promise. And anyways, the guy says, well, you'll make it. You'll be fine. So I drove it off. I'm about an hour down the road. I'm on the highway. Yes, I made it on the highway. I'm not stuck in town. Truck breaks down. Truck breaks down again. I'm sitting on the highway, pulled off to the side. Call my friends. I say, hey, the truck broke down again. So they call the mechanic shop in Nogales. They say, hey, our friend broke down again. He needs help. Can you help him? Well, then they started looking for me. They're going around town looking for me. They got bad direction, so it took them a while. Meanwhile, after I hang up on that call, I get a truck pulling up right behind me. A truck. I'm freaking out like, what the heck is going on? Who is this? Whatever. It just happened to be a roadside mechanic 5 minutes after I break down. He comes out. He's like, do you need help? I'm like, actually, yeah. I want to emphasize this. At no point did he ask me for money. He spent 2 hours looking at my truck, just me and him, trying to figure out what it was. Couldn't figure out the problem because it wouldn't start. Next thing I know, the other mechanic people in town, they find me, and eventually at some point I had 6 people looking at my truck all at once on the side of the road in Mexico. At no point did any of them ask me for any money. It was unbelievable. They were the nicest people I possibly could have met. Fast forward, they have to tow my truck back. And by tow, I don't mean on a tow truck. I mean pull it with a chain. That was interesting. So they pull it with a chain back to the mechanic shop. And the head mechanic offers to buy my truck because he knew the only option for me was to leave it. There was nothing that I could do. I don't have enough money to, I don't have enough money to fix it, deal with it, anything like that. And he offers to buy my truck, and he doesn't even have the money. He says he'll take out a loan. Now, if you're someone from the US, you might say, I don't know about that. I wouldn't trust him. He's not going to pay you. But I trusted him. I did. And he offered to buy my truck in payments through the next few months. I said, okay, whatever. That's fine. I don't care about the truck. All right. Money's just money. It's not a big deal. If something happens, it's whatever. It's better off in their hands than mine because I can go back to the US and make more money. That's fine. So I took the title, I took the license plate. I said, when you pay it off, you give it back. And he's still keeping in contact with me. All of them are. I made friends with so many people. One of them took me out to get tacos, drove me to a hotel, got to meet his family, all sorts of stuff. The next morning, my friend drives me to my friend that I had made there. His name is Luis. He drove me to the bus stop, helped me get a ticket, helped me put my bags and stuff. Everything. He helped me with everything. I'm on a bus to Hermosillo, where the airport is. I catch a flight to Guadalajara, and I'm here safe and sound. The moral of the story is, don't let conventional thinking stop you from doing what you feel you need to do. My gut told me, God told me, that I should drive to Mexico. I did. I thought everything was going to be okay, and that is exactly what happened. Everything was okay. All the things that happened, conventional thinking would have told you, oh, that's not good, you really screwed up. And yet everything worked out fine, meaning that it was meant to be. I blessed other people along the way, and in turn, they blessed me. So that is the story of how I got to Mexico and how I drove from Alaska to Mexico in an old rusty pickup truck and camper. I will post another video at some point. We'll see what that is. Adios.